In this video, we're going to continue to talk about lighting in Octane for Blender, and we're going to talk more about artificial lights. In the previous video, we concentrated the attention on the natural lighting, so how we can work with the sun and the sky, and we created also this beautiful space effect with different objects and with the planetary system or planetary environment that we have in Octane. And it's just a matter of changing the altitude and then work with the sun and the sky settings to have then this really cool effect of outer space and planets. You can work with planets, planetary views. Now, in this video, we're not going to talk about natural lighting. We're going to concentrate more on artificial light. But before we do that, I want to show you here how you can get rid of some of the stuff that it's in the viewport. So usually I leave one viewport totally, let's say, for the rendering. So I deactivate everything here. All these heads-up display and gizmos and things that are kind of getting in the way. I will take everything off, and the toolbar on the left also, I will click and drag it and hide it on the left. And on the right here also you have this view cube or view sphere, and you can deactivate it from here and other navigation tools. We don't need any of that. Well, my suggestion is to leave this view here just for the rendering so that you can concentrate on the other views for other management tools. So we can manage the 3D objects with this right view. And down there we have the world properties, which is one of the most important shader editor, and also the object shader editor, and this is to manage the materials and the lights also. So we're gonna see that working with light, we're gonna use these a lot, these panels down there a lot, which are basically the shader editors of Blender, as we already saw also previously, but it's good to recap. And in the previous video, we started also to talk about emission and emissive channel. So we started to introduce a little bit also the materials, but we're gonna do specific lesson for that. But just to show you here again, here in Sketchfab, we can isolate the different channels of the material, the different parameters, the different effects of the material. And this is the emission right here. So using emission is like using lamps, it's like using artificial lights. You can also use emission to simulate natural light as well. So there's not like one way you can do things, but you can do it many ways. You have like some basic techniques and then you can customize them. Also here in this other model, and you can see the name of the model and the author and the link. So if you want to get these models right here. And here we have the emission, we have opacity. Opacity is another really important channel of the material, which is going to define where the material is visible and where is invisible. So the black usually represents the 0%. The white represents the 100% of the effect, whether it's opacity or like a bump. Well, some maps like the normal are a little bit different. They look purplish, and they are used for creating fake 3D effects. And then we have other here. So you can see how complex is this model. So we can isolate all the different channels, all the different effects for the roughness, the specularity. Now, if you go here also in the metalness, we can see that there are some metallic parts of this model where it's going to look more shiny. And this is important also for lighting and for lamps, because shiny materials, glossy material, they're gonna reflect the environment, and especially they're gonna reflect the lights. So that's also called specularity or specular. So you can see here that on this model, we can see some lights being reflected onto the surface, and we have this kind of different lights, like red light from behind and this bluish light from the left. And we can see actually in the eye that it's more reflective. You can definitely see all those points all those lights reflected. So material, light, rendering, everything is connected. You need to consider everything as a single entity. So I'm going to show you how you can create a more complex and more advanced lighting system. And we're going to start from the basic 3-point lighting system. So this is the one that it's used like in photography, but also in movies, TV shows, TV series, and so on. It's based on 3 lights, mainly on 3 points, which the first one is key light, and the second one is the fill light, and which is gonna like compensate the shadows on the other side of the key light. And then you have the backlight, which is a light coming from behind, and it's usually used to detach the subject from the background, and so to have a more three-dimensional effect. So this is kind of the fundamental or the basic, the standard, and then you can like customize these to your own liking. So in this one here, probably we have like 4 lights, and we can see the difference between using a complex lighting system and not using lights at all. You will definitely see the difference on your model. Now, of course, you need to have a nice model. A nice 3D model is the base for everything. So if you want to create like organic characters, animals, creatures, I suggest you give a look to ZBrush and Mudbox in our channel, which are 2 powerful 3D modeling tools, 3D sculpting and painting tools. And of course, you can use also 3ds Max, Blender itself, and Maya, Cinema 4D, all these 3D software. Now let's go back here into this scene, which we already set up previously, and we created this effect using a simple light. So one single light, and it was an area light. And in this video, we're going to create more lights. So we're going to start with this one here, which is going to be our key light. And we're going to continue to add other lights to create a more realistic and advanced and professional lighting system or lighting effect. Now we can see that when we select the light, we do also have nodes here. So everything runs through the nodes again. So that's why the node editor, the shader editor, is really important using OCTANE. And the first thing I want to do here is take the light to a more natural look, more like white aspect, so that it doesn't affect too much the diffuse channel of the material, so that I can see the actual texture that I'm going to apply. And we already saw how we can apply textures in the previous videos, and how we can modify the material, make it look good in OCTANE, make it work. Now you can use yellowish or like warmer colors or colder colors just by changing slightly the color. Now remember that color in light means temperature. So lower temperatures have warmer colors for lower temperature, and colder color for higher temperature. It's kind of, the opposite as you may think. And now I want to just show you real quick how we can set up the material for the rest of the scene. So we can see that on this table we have a blender material, which is not good for OCTANE. So I need to switch it. I can also switch it from here. If you go to surface, change it from the standard to the universal material of OCTANE. So this is now actually OCTANE. But what's the problem here is that you can see we still have the nodes there, and it kind of automatically connected to one of those, which is not something we want to do. So let's make some space here, and let's disconnect the metallic, because we want to use albedo. So I don't want to use metallic for these first examples. Albedo is the diffuse channel. So let's go to add and do an addition of a OCTANE, and then image, and then RGB image, and place it right here. And you can see it again automatically created some of these connections, but they probably will be wrong. So you just need to go there and fix them. So I only need that one in there. I don't need this connection that it did automatically. So